Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm dropping my impressions of Disney Illusion Islands. Let me give some context. This was released just a few days ago as of dropping this video. It's a 4-player local co-op platformer and Metroidvania. The big thing here is there is no combat. It's just about exploring and jumping and solving these sort of platforming-like puzzles. Now I'm going to tell you straight up, I really like this. It's sitting around a 7 to 8 range from the reviewers, but as always, it's debatable how many of those reviewers actually play this in co-op, which is definitely how it should be played. It is very clear from the start that the developers intended this to be played with friends, no matter their skill level, and I love it for that. So that's why we're here. I played this in co-op, played for 3 hours. I didn't complete it, that's why we're doing an impressions and not a full review. But enough intro, I want to talk about Disney Illusion Island. Now, at the top, I already talked about what Disney Illusion Island is. It's a platformer Metroidvania, and it very much sticks to that combo. You start off with a single jump, but as you go on and you explore the different biomes and the map, you get new abilities that allow you to reach new areas and biomes, or allow you to go back and explore old ones and unlock collectibles you weren't able to get to before. It's very typical Metroidvania stuff, except for the lack of combat. Now, that isn't entirely new, but I like how they did it here with this heart system. If you mistime a jump over a hazard or hit an enemy, you lose a heart. And once you're out of hearts, you're gonzo until a friend reaches the next checkpoint, which are pretty frequent. So the challenge is minimal, although you can choose how many lives each individual player has in the character select screen, a nice touch. And so in the end, the Metroidvania elements are all just platforming gimmicks like double jumps and wall jumps, but the big question is, how does that feel? How does this feel as a platforming game? And answering that gets into the bigger question of Disney Illusion Island: can you play this with just about anyone? Most people who are interested in playing this title cooperatively, I assume, are planning on playing it with people who aren't capital G gamers. We're talking younger siblings, or your kids, or partners who don't frequently game. Let me talk about my experience, and I think that will help answer that big question of if the game works on this level. So I played this with 4 people at first. I invited over a couple of friends and then lovingly forced my wife to play. Our skill level goes me, capital G gamer, at the top, then my friend Nate, who has some pretty decent gaming experience, then my wife Emily, who occasionally will get into a game, then my friend Molly, who only really plays with friends and or Animal Crossing. She's a social gamer. Right off the bat, I felt like Nate got it down, Emily got it down, but Molly did struggle a bit with keeping up. She is Donald Duck for reference. But I do think after the 45 minutes that she played, that she was getting it down, and the game was helping expand her palette of games. The jumping mechanics feel great for beginners. They're very floaty, allowing you to make adjustments in the air. When you get going with wall jumps and double jumps and ground pounds, the game just sings. I love the flow of the platforming, and it was perfect for what the game is. Plus, there are several key co-op mechanics to help your friends out. You can drop a rope for players struggling with a platforming segment. You can do a little leapfrog mechanic for a longer jump. You can do the Mario bubble thing where if you have a friend that gets left behind, they're going to go into an envelope and fly over to the rest of the players so you can get them out. I couldn't get over the hug mechanic. It's so freaking cute. It allows you to get an extra heart for both players that do the hug. The hug kind of became a sort of joke thing with us where one of us would just stand still with their arms out silently waiting for a hug and just would not move until they got hugged. Especially Nate played as Goofy, and Goofy just looks so sad waiting for the hug. I loved it. It's very clear the developers know their audience, and they took the time to not just make a good platformer, but a great co-op platformer for beginners. Nowhere is this more apparent than with the camera. If you've played cooperative platformers like Mario or Kirby in the past, you probably know it's mostly just chaos. Like, the screen is focused on player 1, and if you're not keeping up with player 1, you're left in the dust or you're frequenting that whole bubble mechanic. Here, the camera does follow player 1, but is zoomed out a bit more to prevent this, and oftentimes will stand still during these sort of platforming puzzle tests. I really like this because it helped everyone feel like player 1 and not just me. And sure, I did my best to go at a good pace for the whole team. I was aware of that and thinking about that. But the camera did a lot of work too, and it really elevated the experience for me. Overall, I think this is the kind of game you can play with people who don't frequently play games, which is awesome because we always need more of those. Like I was saying, I played this with a group of 4. When our friends left, they said that they'd wish they could play more, Then they left our house, and I looked at my wife and I was like, hey, do you want to keep playing? And we stayed up for another hour just to keep playing. Then we got up the next morning and played for another hour, which is not very much like us. There were several points where my wife, Emily, was just as capable as I was. She really wants me to mention this. In the first boss fight, I actually died, and she had to go without me. That's pretty cool stuff if you ask me, because we don't often find games we love playing together, and we're looking forward to finishing Disney Illusion Island on our own time. Overall, the package outside of just this whole co-op gameplay I've been describing is awesome. The visuals are great. I love all the animations each character does, where everybody plays the same, but they have their individual animations, and they're just so cute. It's like the Disney magic tenfold. It's actually surprisingly funny. Like, Goofy is dropping one-liners left and right. And the soundtrack is legit up there as a favorite for this year. The music in the background of this video is from the game. It's all orchestrated and very light and fun. I'm constantly being impressed as I play this game. It's definitely top 3 soundtracks for me up to this point, with like Final Fantasy 16. I can't believe I'm saying that. There's a lot of collectibles and hidden areas which help involve everyone, especially the hidden Mickey mechanics, so even if you're not as skilled, you can still feel like you're part of the team by finding those. And I mean, at this point, if it's not obvious, I'm a big fan of this, and I think it deserves credit for making a great co-op platformer. It reminds me of the 3D platformer Sackboy's Big Adventure. Gabe and I played that, and we thought that the game went out of its way to make a great co-op game, and we ended up loving it. We really highly suggest you play it. Compare that to Super Mario 3D World, a game that I absolutely love, but can admit it isn't necessarily made from the ground up as a co-op game. If anything, it's more of a party game with cooperative and competitive mechanics. Yes, Mario is the better game, but maybe not the better cooperative game. That's how I see Disney Illusion Island. It won't make people's top 10 2023 lists for games, but it is a frontrunner for me on our top 10 co-op games list, and that's pretty cool. So hopefully this gives you an idea if Disney Illusion Island is for you and your best friends. If it helped out at all, consider liking the video or subscribing. We've got a super busy week. Expect our monthly to be out in the next day or two. We have an Ember Knights review from Gabe, content for Baldur's Gate 3 at the end of the week. We're probably going to stream some more Remnant 2. We are putting in the work, and we appreciate any help you can give. Either way, we'll catch you next time on another episode of the Co-op Bros.